Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Educate Call Snap channel. How you doing? So, Secondary released an OTA patch today that we do want to get into. There's a lot of cool changes, like surprising changes. Obviously, the bounds changes I think were not surprising, but the rest of the changes actually kind of like, whoa, okay, this actually does do stuff. So there's actually definitely a lot to talk about here and a lot of metagame that's going to be different with these changes being added. So let's get right into it, with these OTA changes. So the first one, of course, is the kitty change. I think it's no surprise. Bounce, I would say, is the strongest deck. They actually do say it's the strongest deck. So I'm not surprised to see these bounce changes. The first one is kitty. Kitty making an adjustment makes sense to me. The card was very strong. You played and everything. It just gives you so much power for free. And when you combine it with Angela and Bishop, which is what people are doing, it represents way more than that +2 power, right? The Angela's giving you an extra +4, like extra 2 on top, so it's +4. Bishop's giving you an extra +1. Collector's giving you an extra +1. So this thing could be like 1 power +6 every turn. You're getting 1 power, 1 energy, 6 power, 1 energy, 6 power. Like it's like 5 is like reasonable, in a good game. 6 is maybe too much, but like still 1 energy, 5 power, right? Like it's definitely getting disgusting. So can definitely see it getting nerfed here. Honestly, I'm not sure this is like that important. It is a nerf. Now, let's be fair. It is a nerf. First time you play it, right, it's gonna go from 2. Then second time you play it, it'll be on 2 where this is on 3. Third time you play it, they'll both be on 4. Right? So after the third play, you're losing 1 power. That's not that crazy to me. Honestly, I still think this is playable. It's not necessarily that big of a nerf, in my opinion. You're losing maybe, depending on how crazy you are, like in terms of how early you get this, you're losing 2 to 3 power, which is meaningful. It is meaningful. It's just like the combos with Angela, the combos with Bishop is really what made it crazy. So, and you are losing the Bast synergy, right? So Bast won't make it 3 power base where you get +3 start, right? So there's definitely some nerfs here. So it is impactful. It is impactful. I just don't know if it's moving the needle. However, they are adjusting other bounce cards. If this was the only adjustment to bounce, I would be like, ugh, like this isn't enough. But since they are adjusting other cards, I do think that might help a lot. But this is just, they're not trying to kill the card, which I appreciate. Sometimes I guess they learn from their leader experiments where like killing the card is not the answer, right? Even though leader is like not seeing play right now, but theoretically it's still viable. But killing cards is not the answer. You want to still see play, etc. But yeah, definitely the first of a good number of changes. I still think it's a good change overall. They do have a discussion, right? Kitty's the best performing card in all bounce decks, so she's an ideal candidate to target. I guess I should talk about their initial comments as well here. So they did say that Bounce is the strongest deck, right? Let's address the Beast Falcon in the room. It's no secret that Bounce has been one of the top meta decks in the metagame for the last few weeks. We actually feel Bounce is the undisputed best deck because its match spread has a startlingly high number. Yeah, I think for most people that look through the meta, discuss the meta like myself, like you're gonna know what the best decks are because they just have statistically higher numbers. And yeah, Beast Bounce is like destroying everything. So this makes sense. And many of its cards' top win percentages charts when not drawn, indicating the deck is winning with a variety of card combinations. Yeah, for sure. So they're going to adjust the deck. So it makes sense. Bounce was by far the best deck, I would say. So this doesn't surprise me. So I'm happy to see these changes. Kitty is the best performing card in all of Bounce decks, which makes sense. She's an ideal candidate. Her strength has even warped how other decks approach the matchup. That's true. pushing combinations like Invisible Woman and Killmonger into the metagame. This adjustment will lower her ceiling. We'll see Kitty pretty commonly making it to 8 power. We see Kitty pretty commonly making it to 8 power. In that scenario, she'll now only have 6. So that's definitely a nerf, but the change does raise her floor, meaning that if you play her on 5 or 6, she is better. That's true. So her floor is a little bit better, but her ceiling's insane. But then again, when you look at like other 1-drops, it's like they're not close to the power of Kitty a lot of the time. Maybe Nebula, if unobstructed is that level, but yeah, Kitty by far is super strong. Next up, we do have Hidden Monkey. So Hidden Monkey also gets changed. This one is more significant than the Kitty change. You're losing a power, going from 2-0 to 3-2. So it costs 1 more energy, and you are getting to power to rectify that, but it still hurts. So still same ability, so the ability didn't change, but it's now costing a lot more. Like from 2 to 3 is significant, and this sucks because now the combos are a lot harder to do. Right, you used to go like Mysterio Hidden Monkey on 4, right? In case you just wanted to get it out, you go Mysterio Hidden Monkey. You can't do that anymore. So that like early game tempo play is out, and then also just your late game, your turn 6. Like this is a really big change. Your late game tempo plays are just not as impactful because Hidden Monkey was like your final win con, right? You do everything and then you end with a Hidden Monkey. Now, if you try to do everything, especially if you don't have like that beast buff, right? So with beast, it might be okay, but when do you play this? You can't. How do you? You can't really play beast early and then play Hidden Monkey early and then pick it back up with beast, because when are you gonna play this Hidden Monkey and when does it make sense, right? If you want to have it be bigger than 2, you're going to have to I guess play an Elysian or something, right? Because even if you go 1 and 3 on 4 and then you pick it up on 5, it's like so ugly. So this is a huge nerf. This nerf is insanely impactful for all bounce players. So significantly more than any other things. And I mean, people weren't playing Hidden Monkey in other decks anyway, so I don't mind that. It's not like, oh, you're losing the flexibility of the card, because people are just playing it in Beast, but it is a pretty impactful nerf that hurts. Anyways, the next strongest card in Bounce has been Hidden Monkey, so we're tagging a nerf to him as well. We're adding an energy Hidden Monkey for a few reasons. The first is to weaken him very often. You'll spend that energy to play one cost card on the last turn, which itself would be 2 or more power in addition to the buff. So this is taking that away. So yeah, you're losing a lot. It's also making him much less efficient to play early. It's also so true. I don't know. We choose this execution. That's the right word. It's an execution. I agree. Rather than something weirder than -2 or buffing +1 power, but adding some base power because it's more elegant. I mean, but it's way harder. It's gonna be way harder to make this like feel broken. That's the issue, right? It's not gonna feel like broken. I guess you're gonna need Mysterio. You're gonna need Mysterio to make this feel broken. But even then, it's not broken, right? It's just like, and once again, right? All of these changes are nerfing Bast, right? Like that's another thing that is not really being addressed here, is that Bast synergy just doesn't really work as well anymore, right? You're trying to get that extra +3 power, you're not getting it. So that synergy used to be so clean, and now it's like it's definitely not as clean anymore. So I mean, yeah, it hurts. It hurts bounce decks for sure. All right, let's move on. Next up, we have Spider Ham. This is interesting because I was just talking about. I mean, I've been talking about this card being broken. It is broken. I agree. But I'm happy to see them changing it. It's going from a 1/1 to a 2/2, so it's getting Zabu stats. Same ability still, but now it's much more of an investment compared to it being on 1. So Overall, am I happy with this change? I mean, it needed to be done, right? Like the card was too crazy at one. Like it was too crazy. So this needed to be done. Um, and you're definitely not going to be able to play it in everything anymore. You used to be able to just play in everything; it didn't matter. Now you really can't play in everything. So it is very impactful to make it two costs. All right, I mean, yeah, it you're gonna see less Spider Ham for sure. Spider Ham's been a generically strong card in a few decks, so it might surprise you to see it lumped into bounce here. Yeah, I mean, this card was super flexible. It's not a bounce card. However, that's the deck where it's seen the most play. I mean, that's just because bounce is the most popular. I wouldn't look at that reliably. It's seeing the most play in bounce because bounce is the most popular deck. That's why. It's not because this card is a bounce card. But I mean, regardless, like the change makes sense. I'm not gonna argue there. It's also been the third strongest card in that deck. So Kitty was the strongest. Hitmonkey was second. Spider Ham was third. I mean, that makes sense to me. Okay. Um, it has a number of reasonable replacements, so this is our smallest change to bounce, but we have other motivations for changing the card. We're unhappy with the extent of the damage Spider Ham has done to the few archetypes revolving around high cost cards. Yeah, I mean, you should have known that when you made the deck. I mean, you made the card, right? Like, Apocalypse is unplayable because of this. She-Hulk, Death, and especially Apocalypse, yeah. We have a future adjustment down the road to Spider Ham's behavior that directly addresses that. Huh, what does that mean? So there's probably going to be another change to nerf Spider Ham, basically. That's what it says. But for now, we're just going to make it a little less efficient and see how much that reduces play rate. Yeah, I mean, Spider Ham needed a nerf. It's too strong. It's too meta defining. And it will always be strong as a 1/1. Like, you will always see play to it. It gives you information. It's just so powerful. So I can see it being a 2. And I wonder how it's going to go from there. Now this is we're now getting into the interesting stuff. Those are the 3 nerfs, and now the rest of these are buffs, and they're impactful buffs too. So first one, Phoenix Force is now a 4/5. Used to be a 5/6. Now it's a 4/5. That's so big for Phoenix Force. That's so important because now you can start doing crazy stuff on 4 compared to 5. You also get the chance to double move. So this move, multiple man move deck is also insane. Another thing that's important is that let's say you copy multiple. I think multiple man is really getting the brunt of the benefits here, where now it's going to be 8 power instead of 9 power. So that was something because this game is balanced around Shang-Chi, which I don't understand. But yeah, because of that, the card is multiple man with Phoenix Force isn't that great because it just gets killed by Shang-Chi. But now it's at 8 power, doesn't get killed by Shang-Chi, and is fairly balanced. So I don't know how much better the deck is. I do know it's significantly better, and there are other changes too, making Phoenix Force decks a lot better. So this is pretty scary. If you don't like this card, but if you do, like, you're going to be pretty happy. Let's look at some of the comments. It's relatively unusual for us to make a change to season pass cards so soon because they're usually broken. Let's keep that in mind. But Phoenix decks have been a lot weaker than we wanted overall. This may be due to the complexity of the deck building. In part, no, that's not the reason. The other reason is that you made it a 5/6, yeah. So now it just gets hit by Shang-Chi with multiple men. This ultimately introduced more weakness than strength. It's so weird how the game is designed where you buff a card and it gets weaker. Like this, it's it's so weird. But it made multiple men vulnerable to Shang-Chi, and that's seen plenty of play as a primary answer to lockjaw locations in the Hulk specifically. This change should heat Phoenix up in a big way and return multiple men to a sweet spot. If it's a little too much gas, we look at cooling her down by keeping the cost at 4. So they're committing to making it stay 4 power. I mean 4 energy, which is fair. Like it means there's going to be something that can work with it. But if it's too strong, which likely it will be, honestly, they're going to maybe tone the numbers down. But yeah, I definitely. So it's interesting, right? Because basically it was a 5/5, and then they changed it to a 5/6, without doing enough playtesting. Is that that's what they're saying? So they were just like, yeah, let's do it, and then bam, you get punished because now it's an 8 9 power. So kind of interesting. I do think this is a big buff to Phoenix Force, and you're definitely going to see a lot more play with it. So definitely wondering what other decks will jump up, because now you can do stuff at 4, and Shuri still works as well. So you can do some crazy stuff with this. I'm just definitely concerning. Next up, this might be, well, there's a lot of changes. It's almost like a new release. But yeah, they're changing Ghost Spider as well. It's going from a 2/3 to a 1/2. A 1/2, guys. What? A 1/2? That's so good for any decks. Like, this is what you wanted Doctor Strange to do, essentially. This is what you wanted Doctor Strange to do. But you're now making it a 1 cost. A lot of move decks, like where's Molt? Molt is jumping for joy. Like, what is this buff to move decks? There's so much you could do with move now in terms of using Ghost Spider as a secondary Iron Fist, right? So you could see how good Iron Fist is. Now Ghost Spider is an Iron Fist as well, essentially. But you can play it afterwards. It's just another Iron Fist. It's so strong. You could play just Iron Fist and move synergies, and that was fine because of how good Iron Fist is. Now you can do that again, and it has other usability. So now you can move your annoying cards, right? You could go something like play Red Skull and then just like move Taskmaster. Well, you can't move the Taskmaster, but you can go Ghost Spider into a 5, which is pretty powerful. So this is very powerful change. I think move decks get the most benefit. I don't really think people have been using Ghost Spider to dodge Shang-Chi that often. It's not that common of a play. Maybe it'll be more common with this cost reduction. Now you can do other things, but definitely like interesting. Like, this is a good change for move decks, and I will say move decks aren't that good right now. Like, aren't doing that well. So maybe it's fine. Maybe move decks need this, and especially because they just had a move deck season, right, where they gave us 2 move deck cards, 3 move deck cards if we include the season pass, and you still barely see move play. So it just means that move decks are not in a great spot. So this can really help. Like, I actually think this could really help. I'm not saying I'm going to be being a move deck player now, but I can see people who like move decks like having a good time right now. And I'll just see if I start losing some, then I'll check it out. But yeah, we're a little gun shy on the strength of some of our recent move cards, as the deck can be really potent in occasionally melting brains over the sheer number of possible moves you can make. Ghost Spider was one of those cards, and having seen the dust settle, you decide to push her efficiency a bit. Other than human targets, moves in the deck historically vulnerable to Killmonger, so this should ultimately net power. Yeah, for sure, it's gonna be better for move players. It also makes her a potentially interesting companion for Phoenix, right? So you can go. You can go Shuri into Phoenix into Ghost Spider. Oh my. Yeah, you could definitely do something like turn 4 Shuri, turn 4 Phoenix copying multiple man into Ghost Spider, and then you're already getting it's a 13 power multiple man in 2 lanes that you can move into another lane. Also, if you play Heimdall last turn, you're just getting so much 13 power. That can definitely be disgusting. Ugh. Yeah. I mean, yeah. This seems strong as hell. Anyways, let's move on. The last one is also very interesting as well. So the next one is so this one, Living Tribunal, is going from a 6/6 to a 6/9. Its ability is now split your total power evenly among locations. Nice. So add a little bit of extra thing at the end. I did that, but this is definitely a change. Do I think it's gonna make Living Tribunal see play? maybe. Like honestly, maybe. I'm not sure. I the card is still like hard to really evaluate. The right now it's played in um meme decks, but you can play it with Iron Man Onslaught Living Tribunal, right? You can do that, and you just need like um Electro or Wave, right? And then you can do that. So there's definitely some decks that could definitely see work if you have no counterplay, which not that many people are running Enchantress, not that many people are running Echo, so there's value there, and I think you might see some decks like that. So I mean, there's a lot to try. There's a lot to try with this patch, so I can definitely see some experimentation going on here. Let's see what they have to say about this card. Living Tribunal has successfully spun up a fringe deck that pushes lots of power, but that deck could use a little lift. The 3 power would be a huge buff to most cards, but for Living Tribunal, it plays more like a 1 power card. A 1 power. I mean, that's not necessarily true, but I hear what you're saying. This change does open Living Tribunal up to Shang-Chi, with his effect being active for any location helps him stay nimble against that threat. So you can Shang-Chi it, but since you can play it in any lane, theoretically, unless you are doing that ongoing idea I talked about, you can play it anywhere. So if this buff doesn't get him where he wants to be, we'll go back. So basically, they're not sure, but if it's too strong or too weak, they'll readjust, which is fine. So I can see that being okay. So obviously, you gotta try it and then see. I can't tell you like how this is gonna stack up into the ever-changing meta, but it does seem interesting. And then the final card change, maybe the most interesting, is that Magic is going from a 5/3 to a 3/2. A 3/2 again. So you can't play this on turn 6, but on reveal changes location to Limbo. So I want to say that there's a cool idea from Specimen that you can go Invisible Woman Magic on 5 and then Ghost Spider on 6, right? And since the Invisible Woman doesn't count as being played, I mean the magic doesn't count as being played, the Ghost Spider will move it turn 6 and then the magic will proc on the final turn. So you can actually, with some effort, you can actually get this to proc on turn 6 as well. So I don't know how toxic that is, but it's definitely something that's now available that really wasn't available before. But yeah, this is a big change. It helps some decks. I wonder if Silver Surfer decks are gonna use this now, right? I wonder if Silver Surfer decks are gonna use this. It's definitely an interesting idea. But yeah, Magic going to 3. I mean, going to 2. It also changes Cerebro 2, right? Cerebro 2s can also... I haven't looked at anything in Cerebro 2 land. Oh, this also changes Cerebro 2. Cerebro 2 meta? Cerebro 2 meta? Anyways, I'm just saying, I'm trolling. But yeah, it does do something. Let's read the comments. Ever since the nerf that knocked Magic from her perf defining the metagame into its default recess, we've been looking for a safe time to reduce her at a more aggressive rate. Since she's interesting, this season seemed ideal because there's a hot new variant with the season pass, and they want people to get the variant. We actually are going to make a small behavior change to Magic in our next patch, restoring her to being playable on turn 6, but disabling just her on reveal in that case. So if played on turn 6, the on reveal does not proc. That actually might fix the issue I talked about with the Invisible Woman scenario where you can get this to activate on turn 6. Maybe they're thinking about that already, but they don't want to like tell people, oh, you can do this. Like that I just did. But yeah, I mean, you could do that. But it looks like they're aware and they're trying to fix that, so that even if you do a manipulated where it goes down on turn 6, it doesn't trigger. So that's good. We're debuting this stats change a little earlier to celebrate her time as a member of the Phoenix Five in the appropriate season. So yeah, definitely a change to Magic. I do think Magic could use some love. It just wasn't that important in a lot of decks, and because it has such a clear weakness of Storm, I would say right now in the meta game, it was really hard to justify playing Magic, because you play Magic, it just gets stormed away, your whole game plan's ruined. So having the Magic go down early means that you're not investing your whole turn 5 into that, and your turn 5 is such an important turn. So hopefully this helps, makes it less of a drawback, and definitely some decks are going to be really happy with this change. So pretty cool. And then finally, last adjustment is that Great Web is appearing less frequently. So much like Miles, like overall this location was too game changing. Like regardless of what they say, this location was too game changing. When it comes up, so many games I win or lose because Great Web last turn pulls a critical card, right? You play a big card turn 6, it pulls it to Great Web. And it's like so annoying, because if that didn't happen, you win for sure. And I've just seen that happen so many times to my opponents or me, and it's just like, actually, I've been getting most of the benefit because I just make sure my lane is filled. You know, like I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna fill my lane, and then it can't happen. So that I've been not being punished as much, but I definitely understand the frustration of this location coming up and just like ruining games for sure. So I'm happy to see this appear less frequently. And then finally, those are all the changes. The next OTA is on August the 3rd. So schedule that in your calendars, or not. I mean, it's just an OTA change, but yeah, August the 3rd, next OTA change. Overall, a lot of cool stuff here. I actually think there's a lot of interesting things to do. I think there's so many decks to try with these changes. There's like so many little things you can do. Spider Ham getting nerfed is impactful. Beast being less prevalent in the meta is very impactful. So this is a huge OTA change. Lots of adjustments, lots of things to try. Ghost Spider changes a lot, changes the whole move deck archetype. Living Tribunal might see some more play. Magic is huge, and then Phoenix Force makes the season pass a little bit more accessible for people that want to try new things. So a lot of cool changes here. Hopefully it's not too game breaking. They didn't just make a new meta deck that will just see the play to replace bounce. But all in all, hope you guys enjoy this. Take care of yourselves. What are your thoughts on the changes? You know, what are your thoughts? And I'll see you in the next one. Once you watch him, you won't go back. He'll teach you to marvel snap. Your skills will be